Episode 13 of the Unmuzzled Sports Podcast. I'm Gary Ray Manda. We got a great show for you tonight. We even got the World Juniors going on out in Minnesota. We got college playoff preview to talk about tonight. We have our very own Dave Graff was on site scouting the Bills game. So we're going to have him in while we're talking about the Bills. We're going to be talking about the NFL Roundup, the playoff pictures, and yes, he's coming on. We've talked about him for a couple of months now. We got Rhett Chessel coming on for his new segment, Rhett's Roundup, covering the Western Conference in the GOHL. And then we want to talk about something that everybody knows, somebody afflicted, or maybe even you're suffering in silence. And we're going to start up a campaign for the month of January. It's already known as the unofficial Mental Wellness Month. We're starting up a campaign called You Matter. And it's just basically going to talk about why everybody matters, whether you're an athlete looking to go onto your next venture, whether you're single, recently divorced, or just struggling, period. You matter. All that and more on episode 13 of Unmuzzled Sports Podcast.
6 guys, 3 sports, no leash. This is the Unmuzzled Sports Podcast. Football, hockey, and baseball, the way it's meant to be. Loud, raw, and completely unfiltered.
Happy holidays, everybody. We got Ian Schenk and Brian Hawley with us. Gentlemen, hope you had a great Christmas.
Yeah, it was good. Went by too quick, and hope everyone's enjoying the 4 seasons we just had in the last 3 days.
Yeah, Christmas was great. Got a lot of grandbaby time in on a couple different occasions. Saw pretty much every member of the family got home for Christmas this year, which was really cool. And you're right, Shanker. The only 2 days that were any good at all in December that I can recall were the 24th and the 25th. Easy for traveling, good temperatures. So at the very least, it's been one shit December, but at least they gave us 2 days over the holidays to see some family. So.
Yeah. Amen. My mom and I were down at my sister's in London, and on Boxing Day, we were planning on having my 2 daughters, Lindsay and Courtney, come and see us. And so we both looked at each other and thought, we better get out of here at the crack of dawn because there's freezing rain coming, or else we're not going to get out of London. And thank God that we did, because man, oh man, was that freezing rain bad. So yeah, glad everybody got to spend time with some family, some grandbabies, friends. We even got to have a couple of beers and wings there Sunday down at work. 40, thanks to your crew, Jana, all the people were great. Apps, everybody. So shout out to work for hosting us there on Sunday with all the guys from the Unmuzzled Sports Podcast. So let's get into it. We'll hear from our sponsors and we'll talk some junior hockey on trending.
This trending segment brought to you by Best Western Plus Arden Park Hotel, located at 552 Ontario Street, Stratford, located steps from the Festival Theatre, while offering first-class accommodations with an extensive range of services, including conference center, banquet facilities, and heated indoor pool.
So the World Juniors are out in Minnesota this year, and it's been a tale of 2 teams, actually. The first game, they couldn't keep the puck out of the net against Czechia. The second game against Latvia, they were lucky to even make it to overtime, and by the skin of their teeth, they ended up coming through there. And then last night, they just blew Denmark out, so... Schenker, what have you seen and liked since you've been watching the first 3 games?
Well, let's touch on the big eyesore, and that's the attendance. If it ain't the U.S. playing over at the Wild Rink, there's nobody there. Like, I don't know how many people can fit in that University of Minnesota rink, but man, oh man, what do they get? Maybe 1,000 people out of 8. And I don't know if people just don't want to come to the US or come down from Winnipeg, but I sure think our boys could use a little more support in the stands. That's for one thing. Other than that, I think Canada, they look good. They've looked good and they've looked bad. I don't think they deserve 2 points against Latvia, but again, when you play a team in any sport that you know what, we can beat this team, you kind of sleepwalk through the game, and then when it's too late, you can't get back into the game. But all in all, I think Canada's going to be fine. It helps Finland lost yesterday to the Czechs, and tell you that first line for Canada, boy oh boy, can they put the puck in net at will.
Yeah, you've got Gavin McKenna acting like Wayne Gretzky there in 78 at the tournament. He's just unbelievable passing, and then he had the 3 goals there last night against Denmark. But some of those passes, like the first game when he set up Brady Martin to give Canada that 1-0 lead against the Czechs, my God! Like, and if you're just watching him for the first time, you might think, he threw it blindly. No, he saw him there in the slot, and when he spun around and put it on a stick, he's just playing with a higher caliber of guys, because I've been reading a lot of scouts are kind of down on him at Penn State University because he's not tearing it up like everybody thought he would. He just doesn't have the horses like he does here at the World Juniors. And Halser, what are you seeing with McKenna and Team Canada?
Well, specifically with McKenna, I mean, he's leading the tournament in points as an underage player. He's an undrafted player. This tournament has been a springboard for 19 and 20-year-old hockey players, and this guy's 17 coming in here and leading the tournament and scoring. So, and he's done it not just by beating up on Denmark. He's, to your point, he's been making some nice goals happen in this tournament. So I don't see any real flaws in his game defensively. So when you're leading the tournament and scoring and you're not a liability defensively and you're not even old enough to get drafted, he's checking off all the boxes for me. Maybe he doesn't look as good as guys have looked in this tournament in past years, but he certainly looks like the real deal to me. Bedard is a good example of a guy who was non-drafted, left, he led the tournament in scoring. I think Tavares did as well back a few years ago. So you look at those kinds of players and you say, is this guy, as good as advertised? And he sure looks like it to me. But I agree with you, Shanker. When I watched that first game, I was thinking, are we playing in Latvia? Is that what's going on here? Because it looks like there's 800. Like, I'm not sure they're outdrawing the Lincolns, frankly. Yeah. So, but I get it, and I'm not going to stand up here and make political statements, but I certainly get it. I know a lot of people who just flat refuse to go to the United States. And, you have to think that's a contributing factor to the bad attendance. Because I went online last night, I'm looking at the game and I'm seeing another empty stadium. I'm going, well, I've been to 3 of these things, and we got bilked in Toronto the second time we went. We paid like $4,000 or something ridiculous for 3 tickets. Anyhow, I looked them up and they're 60, 70, $80 for the New Year's Eve game against Finland. So, and that's Canadian. So it's not like they're pricing themselves out of the market. People are just not going into the United States. And I think that's by and large the biggest reason that the bins are empty, except for the USM games. You know what I'm saying? So other than that, I like what I see with the hockey club, and it's early, and we'll see, on New Year's Eve, how good they are.
Well, to your point, you were mentioning how when you went to Buffalo, it was 90% Canadians there.
Oh man, it was, they had a big booth house in behind the arena that probably held 2,500, 3,000 people, and it was packed, and 95, maybe 97% of the people were wearing red and white. There was almost no blue in there. It was one of the best parties I've ever been to, the World Juniors in Buffalo, 2011, I want to say, something like that. I got a sweatshirt from there that doesn't, fit me anymore. So
I remember a coworker, Toby Francis, shout out to you, Toby. Don't be afraid to retire, buddy. And Toby went all out. Like, if anyone that knows him, he doesn't do a whole lot. He likes to go to Cuba 6 or 8 times a year. But other than that, he doesn't really do a whole lot. And the World Junior is his thing. And so he had a package. He had 2 tickets right behind Canada's net for the whole tournament, rented a BMW, went down, lived large. And he said, just like you did, Halser, it was one of the best experiences of his life. And he was actually on TSN because he had a referee's jersey on. And I remember as they went to commercial the one time, they were showing him and him carrying on with Al Senior. He was down there a few games with. So,
Nice.
but yeah, it's you're right. We don't want to get political, but definitely Trump's had a factor in why so many Canadians are staying away, because I could see if it was maybe further south into the US, but when you're right on a border state where, it'd be so easy for people in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, even Northern Ontario to make the trek, and they're not doing it. They're basically just giving him the one finger salute like Tom Brady got at Orchard Park there on Sunday. So. But guys that have really impressed me, other than McKenna, how do you not love Zane Parik? He's bailed us out, a few times.
Man.
He had that monster game against the Czechs. What a release. Like, it's not a heavy release like, say, Lincoln Moore, but it's quick and it's accurate. And, like, the kid just basically has like seeing eye where the puck is barely on his stick and he does that quick curl and release, and man, oh man, he's good to watch. What do you guys think of him?
I think the Flames made a smart move drafting him last year, and he's so offensive for Canada. Like, and they had him pair with Reed, where they both like to jump in the play, and it doesn't matter. They got 4 forwards up front, and they get back so quick to cover each other when they're pinching. It's crazy. And getting the Halser's point earlier, I find Canada's putting pucks where they shouldn't go, and we're still there to get the pass and snipe. It's so impressive to watch.
Yeah.
And I think it all goes back to their coach, Dale Hunter, too. He's he doesn't take any shit, right? So if you're playing good, you're going to play, and he's getting the best out of every player.
Yeah. Halser, what were you going to say?
We were talking about Parik there. I've got to say, I don't love his defensive game, but the thing I really was impressed with, Mike Johnson picked it up on the broadcast. The first goals that he scored, when he scored 2 against Czechia, they were kind of toe drag and flip for a quick release. But the one he scored last night, he stepped right into, and you could really see the bend on his stick. So
yeah,
he isn't a one-trick pony. He's got such great hands. And what I heard on the broadcast, I didn't know this, is that he's only the second 30-goal scoring defenseman in the OHL. Who's done it 2 years in a row, is what I'm saying. And the only other guy to score 32 years in a row was some guy named Bobby Orr. So you have to be impressed with him. Like I said, but again, I don't love his defensive coverage, his zone coverage. They're a bit of a danger, but hey, get him out there early in the third to get him a lead, and then, bring somebody else out there to salt that lead away. I think they look really good, and we're going to see how good they look against the best teams.
Talking about lack of defensive zone coverage, Cam Reid did not have a good game from the Kitchener Rangers in the first game there against Czechia. He just was getting pushed off the puck. He tried to backhand it out on, I can't remember which goal it was, but he tried backhanding it off the boards, and that didn't get out. And then the Czech just pushed him off the puck behind the net. And bang, bang, it was by Carter George, who, even though he let in 5 goals, they were not his fault. Like, they were either like cross-ice passes, one-timers.
3 deflections.
Exactly. Yeah, the first one was that deflection.
At least 2 anyways, yeah.
Yeah, and so you can't fault Carter George. And Yeah, I thought Ethan McKenzie had a great game on defense there against the Czechs. He had a goal, 2 assists, and so they're going to be all right. They just got to tighten up things a little bit defensively, which it looks like they have now. Latvia and Denmark really aren't offensive powerhouses. I think the Danes only got 15 shots there last night in their third game, but yeah, they're humming along, and it looks like they're going to be able to, if they win against the Finns there tomorrow night on New Year's Eve, then they end up winning the B division. They can't finish, even if they lose to the Finns, they can't finish worse than second in their division. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. New Year's Eve, Canada. It's not Canada, USA. We were getting spoiled there a few years with that on New Year's Eve, which was always exciting.
That comes later.
Yeah, exactly. Before we go and talk about end zone and fantasy, did you guys see that Czech OT goal against the Finns? We got to give a shout out to Juracek, the between the legs OT goal. Like, to have the stones to do that in OT. And
Nice
he ended up scoring the winner there against the Finns. That was amazing. But just pretty to watch. All right. We'll hear from our sponsors with TNT Security Inc., and we'll be right back with End Zone and Fantasy.
End Zone and Fantasy. Brought to you by TNT Security Inc., where security meets reliability. Call Todd Schmidt today for a security quote on your concert, dance, sporting, and alcohol event, business, property, or mobile patrol security.
Shout out to Todd Schmidt. Schmitty, you do a great job, brother. End Zone and Fantasy college football preview. So we're taping this a day later. Normally we'd tape it on Monday, but Mother Nature played havoc at the Halser residence. He had no power in the Chessel house. They had spotty internet reception. So we're taping it on Tuesday night. And I'm going to have to put out a little message on our socials that it won't be released tonight, unfortunately. It'll be probably either late Wednesday or even Thursday. Getting into college football preview on New Year's Eve at 7:30, we've got number 10 Miami taking on number 2 Ohio State. Ohio State's a 9.5-point favorite, right? What do you guys think? You're going with you, are you?
This is my upset of the week. There has to be an upset this week. And I don't think Oregon beating Texas Tech's an upset, but Miami's good. Carson Beck is good. They didn't have a good game against A&M, but I just think I'm going to go Miami. Take the upset.
All right, Halser, who are you taking?
I'm not convinced that Ohio State isn't the best team in the country yet. They lost to Indiana, and Indiana was full measure for the win, but I'm not sold on the fact that if they played 10 times, that Indiana would win more than OSU. I'm not convinced on that yet. So I like them going right through. I still like OSU to win the championship. I'm saying it now before these rounds even start. I see OSU as national champions this year.
All right. I'm going to take Ohio State too, because I think, in all honesty, it's going to be, I think it's going to be Georgia and OSU for the national. Can they?
I think they play in the semifinal.
Oh, they would play in the semis.
That's the game of the year possibility.
That's what I'm thinking.
Georgia,
okay, fair enough. Well, then I will say Indiana and OSU in the finals, and I love this Mendoza kid. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I think they'll be the dogs if they meet up in the finals for the Natty, but I'm gonna take Mendoza. I'm gonna say that Indiana will win. Ohio State to beat Miami. Let's go to New Year's Day, noon with the Orange Bowl. Number 4, Texas Tech is taking on number 5, Oregon. Oregon's a 2.5-point favorite. We'll start with you, Halser. Who you got on that one?
First of all, what's the total on that game? That could be a huge number. That could be 70 points.
Yeah.
51 and a half.
There could be 70 points scored on that. I'm on when they're right, they're beautiful. When they're not right, they're more like a really old picture of me, kind of ugly. So, but I'm gonna expect that with the amount of prep time they've had, they're going to show up. I think they're going to win that game. Shootout. I hope. Anyways.
Who are you taking, Shanker?
I'm taking Oregon. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be close. And Texas Tech, I believe they scored the 3rd most points all year out of the top 25. But I like Oregon. They're a good team. They're a complete team. I actually have I did a pool, and I have Georgia versus Indiana in the final. But okay. I like Oregon in this game.
All right, I'm gonna take Texas Tech. There's my upset where, and you said it right, Shanker. It's not much of an upset. The Ducks, to me, I just don't think their quarterback's up to the task. I don't think he can take on the Bright Lakes on the big stage yet. So I'm going to take Texas Tech with that one in the Orange Bowl. At 4 p.m., we've got number 1 Indiana playing number 9 Alabama. You've got Indiana as 7-point favorites. Is that too much, Halser?
I think it's fair, considering they're the best team in the country. But, boy, that Alabama team's dangerous. I'm not sure I'm prepared to call an upset, but this is not a good matchup for Indiana. Alabama's just got that swagger going. And they should, Indiana should be worried. Alabama's going to give them a hell of a game. I think that one's going to be a nail biter.
Yeah. Shanker, who are you taking in that one?
I like Indiana too, and I agree. I'm going to be taking Alabama with the 7 points. I might even tease it up to a 10, but I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, it's the thing about Alabama's always got a good team, but I think they're a step below without Nick Saban being around. So I'm going to take Indiana on that one, even as 7-point favorites. The last one is at 8 o'clock. You got number 6 Ole Miss taking on number 3 Georgia Bulldogs in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. You got Georgia's a 6.5-point favorite. Shanker, who do you like on that one?
I think Georgia blows them out. I know Ole Miss, they only played Tulane last week, right? And this is a matchup again, and I don't see anybody slowing Georgia down right now. So I like Georgia with the points.
Halser, who are you taking?
Oh, I agree. Losing the coach, guess it's similar to losing a star player. You can get through a game against a weaker opponent on heart and determination, but then a big bad bully comes along and punches you in the face, and they're called Georgia, and I think that's what's going to happen.
What did Tyson say? He says everyone's got a game plan until they get punched in the nose.
Well,
I agree.
What's funny is this total is more than the Oregon game. It's 55 and a half, which is wild.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Georgia as well. I think that they're just too strong. Georgia's quarterback as well has something to prove. And they ended up getting rid of Beck so that this guy could have the stage. And I think he's up for the task. I think their D is right up there with OSU and Indiana. I think those are the 3 that any one of those 3 could win it. I think the other 3 the other 5 would be considered upsets. But I really like what Georgia has to offer. I'm going to take Georgia. Getting into the NFL, wow, what a weekend of games that was. My Niners probably had the game of the weekend there on the Sunday nighter. Wow, they came. Wow, they were only trailing once against the Bears, but they end up outlasting them 42-38. The crazy thing about it, though, is the Niners, who would have thought a month ago that they had a shot at winning not just the NFC West, but being the number one seed in the whole NFC? Like, it's mind-boggling. Stafford and the Rams have just started to stumble and bumble at the wrong time. But Halser, what did you see with that game and what's going on with the NFC?
Well, I believe it was episode 4 or 5 where I came on here and said, just give him the Coach of the Year award. And now they're proving. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a shoe-in. It's a no-brainer. And I said it.
I agree.
Like 2 months ago when they had lost everybody to injury, and not just the fancy schmancy offensive guys. They lost Warner. They lost big guys on defense. They lost Bosa, and still they just
Trent
said
Williams.
Yeah, we lost
Fred Warner.
Exactly.
Nick Bosa.
Well, and they're doing it without their best. Well, at least if you look back 2 years, their best 2 guys were Ayuk and Debo. They're both gone.
They're gone.
Kittle didn't play this last game. They've been missing guys all year long. And every team complains about missing guys, but San Francisco just keeps winning football games. Next man up. It doesn't matter who's playing for these guys. They're like the 25 Jays, where it didn't matter who came into the lineup. They came in and they produced. And now you've got Jennings, and and of course, the resurgence of CMC to be probably the premier running back in the league now that he's healthy again and showing everybody what used to be still is. And, what can you say? I mean, just so impressive to see them with the record that they have after all the stuff they've gone through.
And
Shanker, what do you think about the Niners? I'm biased, so what do you think?
It's amazing what they're doing. Like every week they're like, oh, they're not going to win. They're banged up. They're too banged up. But the thing is, Brock Purdy, boy, oh boy, has he looked good the last 4 weeks.
Unreal. He scored 90 points in the last 2 games. Like, the guy's just a gunslinger out there.
Yeah, he has 11 touchdowns the last 3 games. He's soaring for 300 yards the last 3 games. Like, he's fully healthy now, and this is a dangerous team, man.
And he did that without Kittle there on Sunday night, too. No George Kittle. Ricky Pearsall, he's been hurt on and off. You had Purdy out there for 6 weeks with turf toe. And the list just goes on. And, you said it best there, Halser. Debo Samuel and Ayuk, their 2 best wideouts, are gone. Do you think those guys are kicking themselves for leaving the Niners? Like, they thought the grass was greener somewhere else. And,
we don't know what's going on with Ayuk.
Ayuk hasn't left yet, but he's
Debo got paid.
He's not coming back.
He wanted to get paid, and he got paid. But Ayuk, that's been one of the weirder stories of the NFL season in my book.
He's just hopping behind the wheel, driving 105 by Levi Stadium for no apparent reason. Like, it's sad to say, but he's probably got some form of CTE, like, like Brown from the Steelers, like it's just sad, that these guys make hundreds of millions of dollars and then their life just implodes. So it's going to be interesting, though. The Seahawks come to Levi Stadium Saturday night, 8:00. If the Niners win, they're the number 1 seed. The Niners could conceivably not have to play another road game if they win on Saturday night. They could end up hosting. Well, they'll get a bye in the first round. Then they would host the divisional game. They would host the conference game, and then the Super Bowl's in Santa Clara this year as well. So talk about, destiny. It'll be interesting to see.
But I'm going to say, Razor, if losing's not a bad option either. You either face Carolina or Tampa.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a second. You're right, though. I would love to go into Tampa or Carolina and beat up on those teams. But before we talk about them, I want to quickly give a huge shout out to Derrick Henry and the Baltimore Ravens. Derrick Henry won me some large moolah in my fantasy football. So he only had 45 points there with 4 tutties on the weekend. So huge shout out to Derek Henry for helping me. That was my first win. I've been a bridesmaid a couple of times, and finally being able to break through. I was like a 30% chance at winning before the first game on Thursday night. And then the guy that I was playing against, his team just had a terrible week. You know, he was in the finals of two of them, and you know, just lady luck wasn't on his side. But the Ravens, everybody had them counted out, and they did it you know, without their starting QB. Somehow the Ravens are still alive. They go into Green Bay and they win 41-24. Now they go into Pittsburgh, and if they win in Pittsburgh there on Sunday night, they win the AFC North. It's mind-boggling. So, like, what did you guys see with that Ravens Green Bay game on the weekend? I'll start with you, Shanker.
Wow, I wasn't expecting the outcome. I thought Green Bay would have not won easy, but beat them, because I thought Baltimore was mailing it in with Jackson not playing and going up to the frozen tundra. But man, oh man, Derrick Henry, he just said, boys, I'm putting you on my shoulder, and we're going to make a run for the playoffs.
Yeah,
it was impressive. And I guess with the Packers losing Jordan Love halfway through the game, that kind of helped the Ravens too. But I don't know. There's something going on in Baltimore between Harbaugh, Jackson, and maybe, I don't know if there's something else with other people on the team, but it seems like that feud is causing the other guys to maybe say, you know what, we're going to make the playoffs and screw you.
There's definitely a disconnect with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
The rumors that I'm reading is that he's like a child in a man's body, but maturity-wise, he's like a child. He stays up late gaming. I don't know if he's married or not, but he sounds like he's single. But he's staying up late gaming, and I guess when he's coming to team meetings, he's falling asleep. And it's the old Jimmy Jones, Troy Aikman, you know, like, you're not going to sit out your star quarterback. And, you know, like Jackson, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but that knee, it barely hit him. And for him to say that he's got, you know, a bruised back, like, come on. Like, I don't know if he I would have believed the injury report better if he would have said that he twisted it and, you know, like a sciatica or something. But that knee barely grazed his back. And I just thought, dude, like, you are pulling the chute. But they end up winning. They've got win and you're in set up in Pittsburgh. What are you thinking about that game, Halser? What did you think about Green Bay, and what do you think about them going into Steeltown?
Well, Green Bay isn't Green Bay. You know, they've lost Micah Parsons, and then they've lost Watson as well.
Yeah,
we were just talking about
healthy.
We were just talking about San Francisco and the guys that they were losing, but Green Bay is losing guys that they can't replace. And they're not responding the way San Francisco has responded. So they're not the same team. And I was talking to a Chicago Bears fan buddy at work today, actually. And I said, you know, who do you want? He goes, well, Green Bay, because they're not really Green Bay if they don't have those guys. Right. So
yeah,
they're a team that you want to play in the playoffs. So kudos to Baltimore or whatever, but you caught the Packers just at the right time, I think. The thing that really stood out more than the Baltimore win was the fact that Pittsburgh couldn't beat Cleveland. And
right?
What they score? 6 points?
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
6 points. I mean, you can't. Cleveland's got a good D. Myles Garrett is a nightmare and blah, blah, blah. But their run defense is the second worst in the league. Get right behind guess who? Yeah. So you've got Jalen Warren. They got Gainwell, and they got two good guys. They can run the football. You can run screenplays. It's just like throwing a run. But 6 points against the second worst run defense in the league when you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, talk about shit in the bed. It didn't matter what Baltimore did. All they had to do is go into Cleveland and score 14 freaking points.
Yeah.
All right. Against a horrible run defense.
Yeah. How important was it that Rodgers didn't have his number one target in DK Metcalf. Like, that was just absolute stupidity that he got involved there with the fan in Detroit. 2-game suspension. So he's not going to be playing on Sunday either in Pittsburgh. So
No, he isn't. But I assume you're going to see a different Pittsburgh team this week than you saw
you would
last
think
week.
so.
Those things, those games, it doesn't matter who's in the lineup. It doesn't matter who's the good team or the bad team, whether it means something or not. That is one of the more heated rivalries in the NFL. And you should always watch when Baltimore and Pittsburgh play, because those guys hate each other.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. If Pittsburgh loses, Tomlin's gone.
Yeah, you may be right, Shanker.
It could be. Yeah. Because everyone was riding on a high note when they were calling for Tomlin's head after the loss to the Bills. Then they won their next 3. Now they've lost 1 or 2, and now they're on the verge of missing the playoffs if they don't win there on the weekend. So let's quickly go down through the division standings. The AFC. Denver has the number 1 seed. They're the leaders of the West at 13-3. You got New England locked in at number 2. Jacksonville, they've wrapped up the South at 12-4. They've won their last 7. They were 5-4 and have gone on an unbelievable heater. But they're not the hottest team in the league. You've got Pittsburgh at 9-7, barely hanging on to the AFC North. The hottest team in the league is the number 1 wild card seed, the Houston Texans. They've won their last 8. They were 3-5 and have on an unbelievable heater, and a lot of it was without CJ Stroud, which is unbelievable. So
that defense is off the charts, man. With
crazy.
Hunter and Anderson on the D line, who are you going to double up? It's just a classic scenario where you got 2 great edge rushers on the same team, like J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney back in the day, and that defense is absolutely scary, man.
Those two could meet in the first round of the playoffs too. How cool would that be? Jacksonville and Houston.
Yeah.
There's some juicy matchups coming up, man.
Oh yeah.
The number 2 wild card seed is the Chargers. They're at 11-5, and the Bill. I would assume that they're going to rest Josh on the weekend with his foot. I don't know.
They have to.
Right. He's getting X-rays after Sunday and after the previous week, and so he's beat up. He wasn't able to outrun guys like he has been doing before during the season, so I would expect them to sit him. It's only against the Jets. They're in the playoffs. The Bills are going to be on the road. They don't care where they're going. They're just
he'll play. He'll play just because he's got the streak going. Just like last year, he'll take the first snap or the first drive or something like that, and then sit down.
Yeah. And then in the hunt, you've got the Ravens at 8-8. They hold the tiebreaker if the Steelers and them are tied at 9-8. And it's unfortunate that the Colts, they've lost their last 6. They are the ice cold team in the NFL. They were 8-2 when they went and got Sauce Gardner. They gave up a 2026 and a 2027 first round picks to get Sauce Gardner. And it's almost like as if they're cursed. Danny Dimes, he ended up getting hurt. You had Sauce Gardner get hurt. Like, it was unfortunate to watch. It was so bad that everybody had to watch old man Phillip Rivers don a jersey and try and squeeze a win or 2 out to make the playoffs. But that
apparently they're starting the kid this week, Razor.
Yeah, exactly.
And Razor,
might as well. Yeah.
Those 8 wins they had were against sub 500 percentage teams. Like, their losses came against the Rams, Pittsburgh, KC, Houston, Jacksonville, Seattle, Jacksonville, San Fran.
Yeah.
Like, they can beat up on the easy
teams.
Exactly. Yeah. So they had a soft schedule to start.
Yeah. Well, they went for it. I give them credit. Over in the NFC, it comes down to the Panthers at the Bucks for the NFC South division title. The Panthers can lose. They just need Atlanta to win because with all the mathematics and all the tie breaking, the Panthers can actually lose this game, but still win the division and get into the playoffs. So
on the three-way tie. Yeah.
yeah. So you've got Seattle at 13-3. They're the current number 1 seed. They're on a 6-game heater. You got the Bears leading the North at the number 2 seed. You got Philadelphia. They've wrapped up the East at 11-3. They're on a 3-game heater. And then, like I said, a win or a tie, Carolina is in. So it's going to be interesting. Even if Tampa wins, they need help from Atlanta to get in. They need Atlanta to lose. So it's really going to be interesting how that all plays out. Then you've got the Niners at 12-4 as the number 1 wild card. The Rams are second at 11-4. Then you got Green Bay at 9-6-1. Or I should say the Rams are 11-5. But yeah, just interesting matchups that we're still waiting to play out. The 3 games that determine the playoff seeds, they're going to be really interesting to watch. The Niners game, the Ravens game, and then the Bucks game. So going to be very exciting to see what's going on. So we didn't talk about the Bills because Graffer's waiting in the wings. He was down at Orchard Park firsthand in that Rain Bowl. So we're going to hear from our sponsors at work, and we'll be right back with Graffer for Chew on That.
Chew on That with Graffer. Brought to you by Work Pub and Eatery. Get a taste of tradition and charm in our family-run pub. From hearty dishes to cold drinks, we've got everything to make your visit memorable. Located at 75 Wellington Street, Stratford.
Graffer's in the house somewhere. I see him there. He's got the Superman background. All right. There he is.
What's going on?
How are you, brother?
Guys? How are you guys?
Good. Have you dried up from the game there on Sunday, or?
Just about. Not quite yet, but
yeah, that was
it was
a wet game. But man, was that exciting right up until the end.
Yeah, it was. It was good. The temperatures weren't too bad, so we could kind of put up with it. But and it actually didn't rain the whole first half. We got a bit of a reprieve, and then it just poured the whole second half. So
yeah,
it was good to. It was good to be back in the car, but it was good to be at the game too. It wasn't. We stayed right till the bitter end, and yeah, it was good. It was a good day that way.
So, well, you just got to stay warm, and then when Mr. Brightside comes on, then you can all sing along and keep each other nice and warm. So,
yeah, unfortunately, they didn't play it yesterday with the outcome of the
right.
Game, but, yeah.
So, what did you see down there? Take us through the game and your disappointment, your optimism. Where are you on the Bills?
I kind of got both, and I was going to leave the optimism positive for the end of my little rant here, and I again, as always, I really appreciate our sponsors at work and everything they do, and I really appreciate getting the feedback from you guys too, because I kind of lay a foundation of numbers and facts here, and you guys always chime in with some good follow up to it, and stuff that I forget and that, so that's great. So I appreciate that. And I'll start with just kind of going through yesterday, and kind of going into the game. Josh with the sore foot, and you guys alluded to it there a few minutes ago. He's not outrunning guys, especially in the rain and with the bum foot, and so he was kind of behind the 8 ball that way going in. But just it's just a microcosm of every facet of the game yesterday. Was just little things in every facet that there's that underlying bigger picture, that there's a reason Buffalo Bills have never won a Super Bowl and just have not gotten deeper with Josh Allen. 7 playoff wins in 7 years now, 7 straight years in the playoffs, 8 straight years or whatever it is now, but 7 playoff wins. And yesterday's loss, ironically, cements that they're basically on the road. I mean, unless crazy things happen this weekend and there's crazy upsets in the first couple rounds, they're not having another home game, obviously. So, their last road win, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I didn't until I did some digging today. Their last road win in the playoffs was January 17th of 1993 when they
What?
beat the Miami Dolphins in
Miami.
the AFC Championship.
I
2
remember
weeks
it.
after the miracle comeback against Houston at Orchard
Wow.
Park.
Yep.
Yeah, the 35-3 deficit when
Jesus.
they came back and Christie won it with a field goal in OT.
Like you're
So
going back to like Jim Kelly and
Yes.
Andre Reed and
32
Thurman
years, 33,
Thomas and
yes, 33 years.
that's crazy.
So, that kind of scares me, but that's just history. That's just numbers. I mean, that doesn't really, at the end of the day, mean anything. There's nothing saying they can't win on the road. But if you go through like kind of the facets of the game, and I'll start up top with management. Yesterday, being there live, I've been there 3 times now this year, and I really concentrated on the receiver routes yesterday, and they are comically awful at receiver, as we kind of all knew that. They are comically awful at receiver. There's play after play on passing downs, no separation. No, they got separation once early in the game, and it was coming down. We're in the rock pile down in the scoreboard end zone, and there was one play, the great connection with Cooks early in the game, right before Josh had that disputable fumbled incomplete pass, which I think they ruled properly because I think Josh was not throwing that. I mean, it should have been thrown 6 feet, 6 rows into the fucking stands.
Yeah,
if Josh was thinking.
throw it out of bounds, right?
Exactly. But Josh had a brain fart. We know that Josh has those, and I'll get to that in a minute. But that was the only play I saw 5 yards of separation on anything outside of, say, 10 yards downfield. The other 3 big catches they had, they were like me running around left field at the Shakespeare Ball Diamond in '94 catching circus fly balls. They were great results. Great results for the Bills because, there was the one, I think it was Shavers, maybe it was Cooks, caught it like a David Tyree catch, and there was and Shavers went up and got a great contested catch down the other end from us.
Yes.
That was when they got stymied on 4th and 1 before they because we were fortunate to see both scores and everything in that 4th quarter at our end. So it was like right below us. So it was pretty awesome to see that. And then, Razor, you alluded to it a bit ago about, giving Indy a pat on the back for going all in on getting Sauce and stuff. And, obviously if Jones doesn't go down in that, Sauce is probably a big acquisition because they might be in a wild card spot right now. Right.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't know if if Jefferson would be on the board going into the offseason, what he would even be worth. Is it a couple firsts and a second, a couple firsts, a couple seconds? I don't know. But he's got to do something. And it's unfortunate he didn't do something at the Gabe Davis. I mean, it might as well be one of us 4 running his routes. I think the defender has to slow up and wait for him, for crying out loud on some routes. It's comical to watch live because you don't see that as much watching on TV unless they show replays, right? So again, another, like I said, a microcosm of just, I think where Bean's at been with the management thing. They're just not good enough at one of the most important skilled positions. They have a running back and a quarterback. And if one of those guys ain't going, which they weren't on Sunday for 3 quarters, Cook ended up with maybe 70 some yards. Pedestrian game, effort was there. He played hard. And Allen did what Allen could do, I guess, with the bum foot. But I'll go down to, I'll go to coaching, and it takes me into coaching. And I pat Sean McDermott on the back for what he's done with this team the last couple of years with the roster he's been given. I think he's done a good job. Similar to John Schneider at the Blue Jays, I question a lot of his in-game decisions per se. And I know the thought to go for 2 there yesterday was a nice ballsy thought. And hey, we were up in the stands saying, yeah, go for 2 so we can get the fuck out of here. Let's go. Win or lose right here. But,
we're so
but I took a deep breath and I said to my kid, my brother-in-law, and his kid, the 4 of us were there. I said, but hold on here, guys. This is a terrible decision. And this is before they went for it. This was during the timeout, whatever else. I said, guys, this is a terrible decision. Philadelphia, and I didn't know the number at the time, but I knew they'd had a bunch of 3-and-outs in a row. I didn't even know if Hurts had completed a pass in the second half, which I found out he had 0 passing yards in the second half.
He did not
and
complete a pass.
17 total yards in the second half.
Yes.
So I said, wait a minute here. The right decision here is to take a deep breath. I know you're idiot kicker, and I go back to, that was my next thing, the idiot kicker. Like, how does Jalen Carter made a great play to block it, but you're not kicking a 55-yard field goal. Get the ball up in the air and put the 33-yarder through the uprights.
Hence, they
Anyways.
released him Monday.
Yeah, and then they released him yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they released
my
him.
point being there is the 2 points, a mute point if the kicker does his job on the great play by Jalen Carter. But if the kicker does his job on the first touchdown, we're kicking an extra point for the win. Right.
For the win.
For the win. Yeah. Right. Now we're going for 2 for the win. And it's like, just take a deep breath. The D, and to me, in a round, like kind of in an indirect way, it's a slap in the face at the D, in my opinion. They've come out and they've been much maligned all year, and rightfully so. Right? Hall's alluded to their run D a few minutes ago, and they come out and they play a hell of a game yesterday and a hell of a second half. And you got to take that deep breath, in my opinion, if I'm the coach, and say, sorry, I know this whole crowd and everybody wants us to, let's win it right now and everything, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, who knows who would have won an OT, but you got to feel like you're about the 75% favorite going into OT, just the way the second half of the football game's gone, right? So, and with that being said, I only say that because you never know if Miami goes in and beats New England this weekend, right? You never know. And you never know if Jacksonville loses and Denver loses. Buffalo could have still got the number 1 seed in the frickin' conference, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I know that's far-fetched. I get it. I'm a Bills fan, and we like to dream, so I know that's far-fetched. But stranger things have happened, and I think if you kick the single, you win an OT. But again, this might just be the blessing, because it gives Allen one play to keep the streak going Sunday, and then he goes and he gets basically a bye week. So, I mean, that's a plus too. Speaking of Allen, I love the guy. He's a great quarterback. He's a great person off the field. He does so much for Buffalo. He's just a great guy. And that's why I got the background up there. He throws the cape on, does the things he does, and he goes from Clark Kent to Clark Griswold like that. And it's so frustrating to watch. I get it. He's got the bum ankle or the bum foot. I get it. It's wetting that out. Shakir was wide open. Was there a guy within 5-6 feet of him? You as an MVP quarterback making 50 some million have to make that pass.
Right.
999.5 times out of 1,000. You got to hit that guy. Like that.
Yeah, he's backing up to his left.
Yeah.
And I give Allen credit in the post game. He said, like,
he owned
I gotta make that. Right.
Yeah, he owned it. And
with him moving back, though, backing up, going to your left, throwing it left, cross your body. That's a tough throw, but
it is.
I agree. I agree 100%. I wonder do you think that with Seattle getting all the accolades for going for 2 against the Rams the week previous, I thought the play was to play for overtime because you were dominating so much. That was not the same thing in Seattle there against the Rams. What do you think is going to happen in the playoffs going forward?
I like to look at the good here as well, and I got to bring that up. They've won the 5 division titles in a row. Like I said, 7 straight playoffs. They got 7 wins in the playoffs. They know how to win. They know how to do it. They've got that new stadium. 54,000, all of them sold, the personal seat licenses.
Crazy.
I mean, they're doing something right down there. People that don't like Buffalo, I know they shit on Buffalo. People that love Buffalo are very pro Buffalo, and I'm very pro Buffalo. For a pretty, rundown small market city in Rust Belt, upstate New York, they've done a heck of a job to get that new stadium and keep that, the Bills Mafia, and keep the whole fan base together. But the positive side of me, I like looking at the good, and if they can get healthy, and Halls, you've brought this up quite a bit too when we've talked Bills this year, and if Oliver can get healthy, I know I heard he might have had a bit of a setback last week with the bicep. I don't know what it was, but if he can
I'm hearing
get healthy,
whispers, that's all, just whispers that he might be available at some point in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I don't even know if they might have to get a win, and he might be back division around. I don't know, but if you could get him and Phillips back in the middle. Phillips missed another game. He's another one that's done an admirable job there, filling in up the middle on the D. And obviously Kincaid is huge on O. Kincaid gives Allen. Dawson Knox has been okay. He's done his job.
But he's banged up too, right? He's got a bad knee.
Too,
he's got the knee.
Yeah, so if you got all 3 of them with Haas being the third guy, that gives Joss a little. But the thing, I'm going to finish with this and something to think about. My opinion, you can't teach slamming the door. You can't teach finish. You take a hockey player that's got all the Swedish in the world, can dangle and got great hands, can do all that, but the hands turn to stone in the scoring area. you know, I just don't know if Josh. We just haven't seen that from Josh, and you know, you can call the 13. I think their best team they ever had in this run was that 21 team. I think it was. So it would have been January of 22, that 13-second game where
against KC.
Again, the coach should have left the kickoff in play and not. Anyways, we won't go there. I think that was the best team he had. Gabe Davis was on fire that playoff.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody was going. They were a little weak in the secondary, but everybody was going. I just don't think they're near as good as that. I just don't think they have it. And I just don't think you can teach that shutting the door. Like Patrick Mahomes has it. We know that. We can say all we want. He's at a better supporting cast, better coaching. We can say whatever we want, but he seals the deal.
Yep.
And Josh, like I said, I'll say the word again, a microcosm of bigger things, was the 2-point conversion on Saturday. He's got a guy wide open in the end zone for what would that be? What would the air travel be on that one? 16 yards? Like that's
not very far.
Not even
15 maybe. Like you got 6 yards plus 8 in the end zone, so 14 yards.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was literally shocked. I went, "Hey, he was open," and you like people are saying he missed him by a foot or two, and I'm going, I thought he missed him by near 5 yards. Like it was a terrible throw. Yes. You know what I mean? It's for the way he's played all year long.
His whole
for
career.
Him to throw that ball like that, I was like, that was jaw dropping. The fact that he missed him by that much.
Yeah,
exactly. Here's the thing I'll finish with. I'm a Bills fan. Halls, you're a big fan. I know you guys, Shanker and Razor, you don't mind the Bills. I want to see Josh Allen. I want to talk 10 years from now about Josh Allen winning a fucking Super Bowl, not making Hallmark movies with his beautiful wife. That's what I'll finish with. I open it up to you guys.
Shank, what did you see with the Bills on the weekend?
Well, when I got home, the second half was starting, and I was like, this game's only 13-0. I thought, wow, the Bills D is doing something. And watching that second half with the Bills D, I was like, all right, we just need a couple scores here. And I kept thinking of Graffer going, fuck, man, you drive all the way down there and there's no score after 3 quarters. And once the Bills got that first score, I thought, perfect, here we go. Then the block kicked. I'm like, okay, no problem. And then they scored, and I said the same thing. Just go for one, go to overtime. Your defense has played so good. And I think back a couple weeks ago, and I'm not sure if it was on here, but the Joe Brady talk about the Bills offense and how some of the plays he's been calling. I think Joe Brady has to go. Win or lose, Brady has to go. I feel like he's restricting Allen a bit this year with some of his throws and all that. But all in all, I think the Bills are sitting in a good spot. If you have to go to New England in the first week of the playoffs, who cares? I think they win that, not easily, but they're going to win. So I just think the Bills have the attitude now is I don't care who we play.
Yeah, I think, and I think too, if Denver's playing to win, obviously to keep the 1 seed.
Yeah,
the Bills, even with Mitch Trubisky or Brian Hawley at quarterback, could probably beat the New York Jets, right?
Ouch.
So Buffalo could sneak up into that 3-6 as well, right? And I don't think they want to go right up to 5. I don't think they want to see Houston and the Chargers lose. I don't think they want anything to do with going into Baltimore.
No.
I think I'd rather go to New England or Denver than be going into Baltimore myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
no, fair enough.
Anyways, so
all right, Graffer.
Appreciate it, boys.
Yeah, our pleasure. We missed you there at work there on Sunday. You had better things going on though, being down in Orchard
if it wasn't raining
Park.
so bad, I was going to text you to see if I could do a live feed or something, but it was just the weather. You were just trying to.
Yeah, well, it was teaming. They were showing the pictures of the camera guys, and they had their suits on, and they had the cameras all covered. Like it was teaming down there. So. Good on you. Always great. If anyone gets a chance to go down to Orchard Park, highly recommend. One of the top 4 tailgating in the NFL.
And it's going to be the same with the new. It'll be the same.
We hope the new one, because you have to stop and think that's the last time you're going to be in that barn.
Yeah.
So
a
lot of good memories fellas. There. We could do a podcast just on trips to Orchard Park, man.
Yeah, we could do that.
We'll have to get Kenny the ketchup guy on. For those of you should Google and YouTube Kenny the ketchup guy.
We need to film one there. Film one there next year, right, with Kenny.
Yeah, exactly. So, All right, there you have it, Dave Graff with
Thanks, fellas. Be good.
Chew on That. Appreciate you
Graffer.
coming on, Graffer.
Thanks,
We'll be
guys.
right back with Rhett's Roundup, our first introduction with Rhett Chessel. We'll be right back.
Rhett's Roundup, sponsored by Deal Sports Group, specializing in custom teamwear, uniforms, and apparel such as hockey, baseball, soccer, volleyball, basketball, and more. Our online stores are used mainly as a fundraising platform. We create custom designs for clothing and hard goods. They're purchased through the DSG website and shipped to the team organizer. A 20% kickback is given to the association or individual team. We also sell promotional corporate apparel and hard goods and offer many different decoration options that include embroidery, DTF prints, sublimation, twill, leather patched, and a lot more.
Welcome to the show, Rhett Chessel.
Thanks, Razor. Good to be here.
Awesome, buddy. People have been asking me, when's he coming on? And I'm
I
like,
know.
just be patient.
Yeah, long
TikTok's
process, but
been
we're here
loving
now.
it.
So.
All of your videos, you seem to get the most views and likes on TikTok. That's your generation. They seem to really resonate with you.
Yeah.
And can't be happier or prouder to have you on, buddy. And so
Appreciate it.
for those of you that don't know, Rhett Chessel's the son of our Chester's Perch, Chris Chessel. And he's going to do a little talk about the teams in the Western Conference.
Yeah, so we're gonna start off with the powerhouse Chatham Maroons.
The Maroons. What do you like about the Maroons? Tell us what you think of these guys.
The Maroons this year. They're so deep. Trevor Zanuto's got 32 games played, 24 goals, 19 assists, 43 points. I think he's probably one of the top in the league. And then you got Jackson Priddle, 32 games played, 12 goals, 22 assists, 34 points, and then the captain Dylan Richter, who's injured right now. Who
he
I
was the
believe
playoff MVP for them, I would think.
Yeah,
he was lights out.
Yeah,
he was
he's
the
injured
Lincoln
right now.
Spiller.
He's been out most of the year, but I have a strong hint that he's gonna be back playoff time.
Okay,
I
so
hope he's back this Saturday.
Was he back last Saturday, Schenker?
No, he
I
wasn't.
hope he's back this Saturday.
Oh, this Saturday.
I want to see him play. Yeah, I want to
What
see
are
him
you
play.
hearing? Halzer, Little Chester? Are you guys hearing when Richter's going to be back? Because I think, their best player.
He is. I haven't heard, but I've heard rumors like maybe February. I don't know. He's been out for a while. He's only played 16 games, so he's been out for quite a while. But as a Lincolns fan, I'm okay with that. Like, I don't want to see him.
Yeah, they won't rush him back. They'll make sure he's 100%.
They
as
don't.
long as he's ready to go for the playoffs. And every time he steps on the ice, he's the best player on the ice.
Oh yeah,
he's
I
unbelievable. And he was coming back hurt last year in the playoffs. I remember too. He had a banged up knee or something was wonky and missed a few games against the Stratford series. And then he came back against you guys in the finals and just was lights out. So
yeah, he was.
Okay, so they're obviously a powerhouse. What do you think of their goaltending?
Well,
take us through with those three.
They've got Sammy DeBlasi, another player who I believe is injured because DeBlasi has not played in. Let me look here. He hasn't played.
Not sure he's played since that game in St. Mary's, Rhett.
Yeah, he hasn't. That's right. He hasn't. So DeBlasi's injured. So I believe Vijami
Kukula?
I don't know. Vijami Kukula. I hope that's how you pronounce his name. Let me just pull up his.
He's up in Finland, but him and
is he for the World Juniors?
Verburn.
Oh yeah, Verburn, right?
Yeah, so those are the two I think holding the fort until DeBlasi comes back. So Verburn's only played 8 games and Kukula has played 13.
Yeah, so Kukula 8 wins, 3 losses, goals against a 3.01, and actually Werner Byrne, he actually got released to
they released
Patrol,
him.
Did they?
Okay. Yeah, so definitely interesting Chatham. They definitely, I would say, have some nights with inconsistent goaltending. They give up a lot of goals. Their goals against as of right now are 95, which is a lot for a first place team, in my opinion. But I mean, it's still good. You're still a first place team. You should be pretty happy with that if I were Chatham.
Yeah, in 32
But
games, the Maroons are 24, 5, 1, and 2 for 51 points. So they played the most out of any teams in the West.
Yeah.
Halser, what do you think of the Maroons? Are they just a bunch of band-aids right now waiting for the playoffs, or what do you see with these guys?
Well, they're pretty much the same team, to be honest with you. They've got a whole host of guys back from last year's team, except obviously for Richter. But most of the, like Chadwick's back. They're missing the one big defenseman, but other than that, they're only, like I say, they're just looking for somebody to just shore up the goaltending. They do give up a lot of goals. They don't win a lot of 3-2 hockey games. They win 5-4, 6-5 hockey games. St. Mary's has been well documented, got the better of them a couple of times on back-to-back games, but both those games were close. And I really felt like in the first game, Chatham was kind of snake bit. I thought they deserved a better fate. I thought St. Mary's was still the better team, but I thought it was a closer game just because they have no puck luck. So I think they're going to be that team right up to the playoffs, and the team that it's a good idea to finish second or third in the division so you don't have to see Chatham until third round.
I'm hoping to get over Saturday to St. Mary's to watch them. So
Yeah, they're back
But, like-
in St. Mary's there on Saturday night. That's your
Saturday,
first
yeah.
game back.
Let's
in,
hope the weather cooperates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awful
who
out
knows?
there.
Who knows what's going to happen there?
I don't know.
All right, so you got the Maroons in first. Let's get into the Elmira Sugar Kings. They're in second right
Yeah.
now. 29
Yeah.
games played, 24, 4, 1, and 0 for 49 points. They played 3 less games than the Maroons. Who do you like on the Sugar Kings other than
Well-
your old buddy Maury?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sad we lost Maury, but Maury, props to him. He's just lighting the lamp. He's got 19 goals, 27 assists, 46 points. And then another one who I really like is Gerber, who's had 14 goals, 20 assists, 34 points. And then the third best points on the team, Benjamin Brunton, 8 goals, 20 assists, 28 points. So Elmira is a very, very, very deep team. They're a very good team, and I would not want to play them come playoff time.
Yeah, and they've also got Ryan Cornfield that played for you guys last year.
Yeah.
He's got 20 points.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he's leading the league in power play goals.
is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ryan Cornfield,
He's
we
having
didn't
a
see
really
that in
good year,
St.
that's
Mary's.
for sure.
He was a good player, but we didn't see leading the league in power play goals good in
Right.
St. Mary's.
No.
And then
Well,
just
look at their goals against too. They've only given
Well, they're
up
right there with
68.
St. Mary's, right? They're one in, I think
Yeah,
they're tied,
1
maybe?
and 2. St. Mary's is first with 67, then Elmira is 68, but Elmira has scored 20 more goals than the Lincolns,
wow.
which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, Elmira, they're just so deep. From first line to fourth line, they're so deep, and I think the top three are probably going to stay the same. I think London, Elmira's St. Mary's second round showdown will definitely be one for the ages. I think that
I
would
agree.
probably go 7 games at least.
Yeah, like you look at, you're right. Cornfield's got 9 power play goals. Kyle Morey, he's averaging 1.59 points per game. Like this kid's lights out.
Yeah,
He's the straw that stirs the drink for those guys. Okay, looking at their goalies, they're solid behind the pipes.
yeah. You've got
Liam
Liam
Reed.
Reed and
Reed Strauss.
Strauss. That's right.
And so you've got Reed with a 930 save percentage and Strauss with a 917, like 2 solid numbers. And,
Yeah.
it just looks like, and Reed's on his last go around. He's a 20-year-old. So, this looks to be his last season. And
Yeah, Liam Reed's a very interesting goalie in my opinion. He always seems to be he's a very consistent goalie in my opinion. But like whenever he comes to St. Mary's, like it's just always tough to play for Liam Reed. And I would not want to play him in the playoffs. Even Reed Strauss, we saw him saw him when I went down to Elmira in September and he played really well, but I think it was a 5-2 hockey game, but it was really 2 empty netters, so it's 3-2 games. So Reed's sure they have 2 really good goals. If Reed gets hurt or has a bad stretch, you just put in another good goalie. Like,
Yeah, kid's 6'4", 205, a monster.
yeah,
He's big like Bender, and was drafted in the first round in 2022 by the Oshawa Generals. So the kid's got great stats, and I liked him when he was down at the Almond there earlier this year. And Halser, what have you seen of Elmira? What do you like about these guys?
Well, they're a lot, I won't say quite looking in the mirror with St. Mary's, but they play a similar game. Good puck pressure, high tempo game. It's really entertaining. I saw them early in the season, and you could tell right away that Elmira, because you weren't thinking you were getting anything out of Elmira after they lost Martin, the leading scorer, and Evely, the best defenseman in the league. And it turns out that they may be better than they were last year. And that's pretty impressive from the management side for Elmira. Having Morey blow up like that. I mean, it's not like there was a big to-do row, whatever, with St. Mary's. He just wanted he's a Waterloo kid, and he wanted to move home. And so he's, very comfortable. He's going to school up there, I think, as well in Conestoga. So it's suited him, and he's really responded there. So they're deep. They've got two lines that can score. They still got good defensemen despite on who they lost. And you guys talked about how good the goaltending is. So, I agree with Rhett. I think the best hockey maybe you'll see in this league is a playoff series between St. Mary's and Elmira. I don't even know who will win, but man, you don't want to miss.
Okay, let's get into fourth place team. St. Mary's is in third.
yeah. So
Fourth
London,
place
I
is
believe.
the London Nationals. Take us through with what's going on there. Let's start with what's going on with them firing their coach.
Well, yeah. Apparently, they fired Brandon Pruss, which I guess came out of nowhere a couple days ago, and I was honestly shocked. I honestly thought he was a good coach. I would aside from all the roughing things and whatnot, but it's gonna be interesting going forward. They just lost Ryan Nichols. They lost Eddie Hickson earlier in the year. And you know what? London doesn't have great goaltending, in my opinion. So I don't think London. I think London's going to be on the downfall after Christmas break here, which is done soon.
Yeah, you got Austin Pomerleau, the owner's son. He's lighting it up. 47 points in 31 games. He's averaging 1.52 points per game. And you got Cruz Ferguson having a good year, 38 points. And then, like you said, Nichols, there's more going on that we don't have time to get into about everything going on. But the Pomerleaus bought it, in February, Halser, I believe, this past February. Okay.
Yeah, I met them. Nice couple. I met them in Listowel, and then I met Dean and Brenda both in Listowel, and then I met them again when St. Mary's played London last year in the playoffs. And it's easy for me to say they were nice to me. Had a good conversation with them. I don't work with them. I don't know what's going on inside. They brought in a new GM, Kelly Corpse, and Kelly made it pretty clear that he, had a vision for this team and wants to put his own stamp on the team. So he relieved the coach of his duties and took over himself behind the bench. The Nichols one is precarious. When you think about where he went, it's not like he went up to the O or anything like that. He went to Petrolia, the PJ. And so I don't know whether that's just, I want to go home. Maybe I was a Prust guy. There's lots of reasons it could be. I'm not going to sit here and speculate, but that's a big blow to them for a team that, like Rhett said, gives up way too many goals. To lose one of your top scorers at this point of the season is going to be really hard to replace. I don't see them
35 points. 35 points from a 20-year-old player. They aren't out there to just go and pick up before the trade deadline.
20-year-old stud forwards are not hanging on the waiver wire waiting to get picked up.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
If they were, you'd have Clarkey and the boys all over it in Stratford. So
it'll be interesting to see what this team does in the next couple weeks. I think that's going to be the tail of the tape for them.
Yeah, they're in fourth place right now with 42 points, 31 games played, 21 wins, 10 losses for 42 points. They're 4 points up on the Warriors, with the Warriors having 4 games in hand.
What, they got about 10 games in hand?
Yeah. So But and then just quickly looking at their goaltending, they've got Dante Bertolin. He's got a .905 save percentage in 15 games. He's their number one. And then the backup is Evan Grant. He's an .07. He's got an .883. So you're right, Shanker. It's going to be interesting to see what's going on with these guys over the next couple of weeks to see if they mesh with the new coach. If they do, great. If they don't, well, then the Pomerleaus may regret bringing in Kelly Corpse as the GM and rocking the boat, because like looking last year, down 3-1 to the Lynx, and they take you guys to the limit, like they played for Prust. People can say what they want about Brandon Prust. I don't like his style of hockey, but they responded to Prust the way that he had them playing.
Well, I'll tell you what's interesting, Razor, is that there were several games this year in which London would go through a hockey game where there were 3 minor penalties. They had one with St. Mary's where St. Mary's didn't get a single power play when they were in London. And, you can only blame so much of that on a referee. I mean, I just saw, I can't remember who it was, that they lost to somebody they shouldn't lose to, and it might have been Strathroy or something like that. They lost a low-scoring hockey game. There were only 3 power plays. So that seems to be the real head-scratcher for me, is that they seemed to be changing their identity somewhat. And then the coach is gone. So I'm not sure what happened there, but like I said, it's their business. They own the team. They can do what they want with it. And I'm sure London will be fine in the long run.
I will note that the Nationals do have a new goalie. Finn Wilson is back. 5 games played, 5 wins, goals against of 180 and a .951 save percentage. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Finn Wilson for the rest of the season for the Nationals, even though Dante Bertolin, who is a good goalie, but
where was he before, Rhett? Was he in LaSalle?
Bertolin, I believe so.
Yeah.
And Sarnia. And he also was with Chatham briefly.
Right. Yeah. He's kind of made the rounds in the Western Conference there.
It's kind of like Connor Davis, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a 2nd-round draft pick by the Spits in 2023. So, yeah. All right. Well, Rhett, thanks so much for coming on, buddy. We really look forward to your input as the season goes on. We're going to be having talks about trades and jockeying for position up until the trade deadline. And then it's a race to February, and then we're into playoffs. So really looking
seeing you at the Warriors and Lincoln game on January coming up. So
yeah, it's going to be good. We got to win our chicken wings back. So we'll have to bring you along now that you're on the podcast. So,
you know who I'll be rooting for.
I have a question for you, Rhett. Before you go, Rhett, I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
7 through 10 in the Western Conference. Do you see Listowel or Strathroy making the playoffs? And if so, who do you see falling out of it?
Listowel right now, they have 26 points, and Strathroy has 28. Yeah. I could see Strathroy barely making it. And I could honestly see St. Thomas falling off a cliff and not making it. But I don't see Listowel making it. I just don't think they're good enough. They don't have the goaltending.
Well, they got 3 games in hand, too.
Yeah, but I don't know. Listowel, they can maybe, but they would have to go on a little bit run.
I don't know if St. Thomas will fall off a cliff. You've had you guys in Stratford fire 50-plus shots at their
they have a good goalie, but
other than their goaltending, their forwards and D are suspect, but good goaltending.
They're really, really young, right?
They're very young.
They sold at the deadline. I mean, that's where Lincoln Moore and many others. I think there were 5 guys or 6 guys traded at the deadline last year for St. Thomas. So they are young,
really young.
Like Sarnia, they're a very young team.
Yeah.
So the fact that they are doing this with such a young team, I understand what Rhett's saying is that like it thinks, the ice is going to get a little softer. Going to get a little tougher to skate on once you get well into January and February, and teams are boning up for the playoffs, a lot more contact. So we'll see how they respond. Listowel, watch out for Listowel. They had a rough start. They're playing a lot better than they were, and they're still in the top 5, I think, in goals against, even though they're well down there. They just haven't been scoring. If they ever start scoring goals, they'll be dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've only given up 87.
Yeah. So keeping it out's not the problem. It's just scoring.
Yeah,
Where have we heard that before? They just need to score more, right?
Yeah, it reminds me of a team we talk about every week.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, Rhett. Well, thanks again for coming on, buddy. We really look
problem.
forward to hearing from you on Rhett's Roundup. Big shout out to Ryan and Sherry Deal from Deal Sports Group for sponsoring Rhett's new segment. So awesome, buddy.
All
We'll
right.
see you
Go
next
Lynx.
next Monday night. All right, Rhett Chessel from Rhett's Roundup. We'll be right back with more sponsors and final words.
Railside Organics, Stratford's first and only Indigenous owned and operated organic dispensary, located at 29 Monteith Avenue, serving those in need with holistic remedies. Come say hi to Curly and his staff and see why everyone is recommending Railside Organics. Call Bick Heating and Cooling for all your heating, cooling, and plumbing needs. Proud Rude Pro partner. BickHeatCool.com or 226-921-4848. Your home team specialists. Taking care of Stratford and area since 2013. Vredeveld Painting. Servicing Stratford and surrounding area. With over 20 years of experience to help you with all your painting and decorating needs. On time and on budget.
Shout out to Nick Hishin from Nick Hishin Indie Mortgages. Can't say enough about Hish. Great guy. Really appreciate him sponsoring Buzzin' with Clarko every week. And also to the Boathouse Stratford, Melissa and Kellen Herr for Chester's Perch. Due to no Junior B games, we gave Clarkie and Chester the week off. So can't say enough about the Herr family and everything that they've done to sponsor Chester's Perch. So final thoughts. Schenker, what are your thoughts for everything that's going on in the sporting world?
Well, is Freddie Anderson, is it time for him to pack it in? He's down 5. He's given up 5 goals tonight to the Pittsburgh Penguins, who's not very good. And my poor Devils are down 2-0 to the Leafs here. I got to go see what the hell's going on here. Also,
yes,
swag.
guy.
Get your
He's
swag,
got
get
the
your
merch
swag.
on.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we've been
Other
having
than
a
that-
lot of compliments on it. So
Yeah.
once again, shout out to Ryan and Sherry Deal at Deal Sports Group. I was handing out the hoodie merch at work on Sunday when we were having beer and wings. And we've got ball caps and toques coming. And anyone who, I've had a few people ask me how they can get a hold of it. Ryan's going to create a separate part on their website. So I said, Ryan, the best thing you can do is keep us out of the equation. We'll just screw things up. And so you're going to be able to go on Deal Sports Group website, look at all your merch options. You'll be able to order it, pay for it, determine how it's going to be delivered or picked up. So you'll be dealing directly with them. But can't say enough about Deal Sports Group. Awesome stuff. And it's brand name stuff too. You want Nike, you want Under Armour, anything you want, they can get. And really, I was wearing mine at Christmas, and my family's like, wow, that's a super cool logo. Who designed that? And I said, Chat GPT. Awesome. Halser, final words with you.
Well, I want to give a big shout out to the NFL part that we didn't cover this week. The annual Toilet Bowl played between the 2-13 New York Giants and the 2-13 Las Vegas Raiders. And the Las Vegas Raiders are so shitty. That's just why we call it the Toilet Bowl, because it's two shitty teams. But the Las Vegas Raiders are so shitty. They lost 34-10 to what was then the worst team in the league. Geno Smith not only got picked twice and sacked 3 times, I think he got up after one hit and said, "I'm Batman." What an absolutely horrible, rotten display. Max Crosby is freaking out because they want him to tank. They're talking about sitting guys. It's
Did you see Max Crosby? When he got sad, he was playing basketball with his kids and jumping on a trampoline.
Yeah, uploaded that on his socials.
Yeah, I'm not hurt.
What an utter brutal display. I gave a real good lashing to my good friend Pete, who's a New York Giants fan. I'm going, you guys are so bad. You even screw up your first overall pick.
Again.
Yes. Again. He says, well, It worked out pretty good. We got Dart. And I said, listen, what do you think a number 1 overall pick is worth if you already have your franchise quarterback? Do you realize how many picks that 1 overall is worth? But what do I know? So the Giants win the toilet bowl 34-10, and screw you, Raiders. You're a sad, sad version. I tell you, the only piece of real, genuine love I get out of that is that just only this year, Tom Brady has had part ownership of the Raiders, and now they're the worst team in the league. Screw you, Brady. I still hate you as a Bills fan.
Good stuff, guys. I just wanted to talk about something. You matter. We've got Bernie Kosar in the picture behind me. Cleveland Brown great. He's one of the reasons why I got the idea to come up with this campaign. As a lot of people know, January is Mental Wellness Month. We have Bell Let's Talk on, I believe it's January 20th this year, but we didn't want to wait till the 20th. I thought it would be a good idea to start the conversation as soon as possible, because there's a guy, on the screen, probably made 20 or 30 million in his career, and he's broke, made some bad investments, trusted family and even his father to place investments for him. He self-admits had a drinking problem, went through a messy divorce. And there's a guy who had made more money than any of us will ever see in our lifetime. And he was flat broke, depressed, and he's a survivor. His liver failed. He ended up just getting a liver transplant not too long ago. But the key with Bernie Kosar is that he didn't give up. And so I thought it would be good to name our campaign You Matter. I don't know if you can see, but he's got his hands up in a U, because everybody does matter, right? And sometimes, you just feel like, you're the only one struggling, especially with the holidays. You see all these people, especially on social media, everyone's lives are perfect. Behind closed doors, probably not everybody is as perfect as social media thinks that they are. And so some of the things that I wanted to talk about this month, or in January, life after the whistle. Halser, you saw it firsthand, when, a family member was done playing competitive football and, what do I do? Where do I go from here? That is a very common thing, whether it's hockey, baseball, football, basketball, any competitive sport. Sports and mental wellness. Sport prepares you to compete, but life requires you to cope, adapt, and rebuild. And then some of our campaign goals, we just want to normalize the conversation about life after high school, post-secondary, competitive sports, divorce, layoffs. There's so many things. This isn't just sports related. It starts with sports because we're a sports podcast. But one of our sponsors that have come on, Bill Boone with Eisen, he sees a lot of people struggling mentally at work. And we've had some good conversations about things that he sees at work and how we can work it into our new campaign. We just got to reduce the stigma around mental health. Mental health doesn't equal weakness. You are strong as can be for even bringing it up to somebody that you're struggling. So don't be afraid to go to somebody if you're struggling. We're going to be making regular posts on our socials in January. Bell Let's Talk is on Wednesday, January 21st. And we just want everyone to know, if you don't feel you're being seen, if you don't feel you're being heard, there are people out there. Call any one of us. If anyone has any issues, you're not alone. And with that, we just want to say, you matter. All right. Great show. Glad to be ending 25 with a great campaign like this for 2026. For Ian Schenk and Brian Hawley, I'm Gary Ray, and this is Unmuzzled Sports Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.